Hi there, Stu from Touch Loops here, back with a new Ableton session to go through with you all. So this is the second of 3 interactive demos that we've made for our newest pack, Distorted Visions. If you've come here from the first video, you know all this already, but if this is the first one you're seeing, we've made a new pack called Distorted Visions that was inspired by listening to a whole bunch of Lorne, One O Tricks Point Never, and is an attempt to build that sound using mostly Ableton 11's own instruments and effects. And it's coming with 3 interactive demos that are going to deep dive how we did it. And it's going to let you go into those sessions, provided you have Ableton 11 Suite, and you can effectively remix the pack yourself in Ableton. So you'll get all of the loops, you'll get all of the MIDI clips, you'll get all of the Ableton presets, these sessions, which we're giving away, which I'm going to go through, and some Serum presets as well. That's the only synth you'll need outside of Ableton. And you don't even really need it, but it's there if you want it. If you have it already, or if you just want to grab a free trial, run through the presets and the MIDI, then you can do that. So this is the second one. I think the best way to do this again is we're going to listen to each section of this demo, and then I'm going to deep dive into it. We're going to talk about the sounds, how we shaped them, and the different effects we're using, all the chains that you'll be getting with the pack that are pre-made. So yeah, let's do it. So here's the first section. This is beat 1. All right, pretty weird stuff. Pretty simple as well. So we've got our beat. We've got this kick drum first. Really odd. Just a really short, chopped, quick release loaded into a drum rack here with an auto filter. We can see it sort of fades in here. Pretty straightforward. And that's being sent, to this reverb return, which is Ableton's own reverb. And then we have the tops for the kit, I guess. Really strange. So this is one of Ableton's kits here that we've sort of modified. We've added this phaser, which is part of the new bundles of phaser, flanger, and doubler, all bundled into one effects unit in Ableton 11. There's also chorus and ensemble and stuff. So let's exaggerate that. I mean, it's a classic phaser, but just set to sort of 12-13%. It's just giving everything a little bit of shape. Same with this bright snare resonator. Set to membrane. And then a bit of EQ. So those two together create a really strange sound. But unique and, with access to each sound instead of just the WAV loop that you would normally get in a pack. You can really customize that as much as you want. So let's move on to the bass. The bass is this bass synth that comes with Ableton 11. You can see that we've got automation on the cutoff here. That's been played in live, recorded using a MIDI controller, something that I'd recommend with trying to give life to VST instruments. If you can quickly auto-assign something to a MIDI controller, you can really get literally hands-on with it. Or if you want to, you can just bypass the automation here, move it yourself, get the sound you're looking for, and then if you want to just go back to what we've pre-prepared, you just hit the little arrow there. So that's running through a little bit of sidechain compression, against this kick, just to keep everything in check, stop frequencies stacking up. And it's also just quite a cool technique. It gives the bass some movement. That bass is also going to this return. Analog Collapse, which is a preset for the Echo plugin. And you can just hear the way it moves the synth around, gives it more character. So this pad here, that's an audio loop from the pack. That will have been made using Serum. So again, you'll get the Serum preset that we've made for that, as well as the MIDI. But for this demo, we're just going to use the audio from Serum to keep it all in Ableton for now. That's also going through the same Analog Collapse preset, the Echo, and again, some sidechain compression. Gives it lots of movement, gives it lots of life, and then sub. Again, you'll be able to build that yourself using Serum. But here it's just audio, and that's running through some sidechain compression. And that's kind of just like an 808 style sub kick. And that's the first beat. On the group here, we've got a send to this reverb just to help the transition between the two sections, something that you might do live or in two sections of a track. So we've tried to create that here. So that's the first one. Let's go straight into the second one. I'm not going to spend too long going through absolutely everything, just because you're going to have access to all of this. You'll be able to do it all yourself. So let's play through this second section, beat 2. Pretty heavy kick. Heavy. Love it. So this is a really good example of sidechain. We've got a separate sidechain channel here that's used, it's made just using this hi-hat sound. So if I turn it on, really short, choppy hi-hat sound, which is playing the same rhythm as this Duke style kick drum. So the sidechain channel's turned off because we don't want to hear that hi-hat sound. It's just there to provide a cleaner, shorter signal to sidechain with. This kick's got a lot of rustle and decay to it that if we sidechained using it, if this was a slower beat, it would be perfect for it. But because this beat's so fast, we want time for that signal to return from the synths before starting again. So this, let's start off with this one. That pump wouldn't be as clean using the kick drum. So it's just on that one by the looks of it. So that's why we use that anyway. That's why there's a separate sidechain channel. It can also be used to creatively come up with different patterns for the sidechain than the kick is playing, by having two separate sources. But for this example, it's just playing the Duke rhythm. So the Duke kick has an auto filter on it. That's for the start here, where it fades in. There's also some automation here on the return channel. It's being sent to this delay, giving it that left and right sort of, that you can hear the decay of it here, sort of texture. Great for transitions. Claps. It's just a cool, pretty straight up one shot. Being sent to both reverb and delay. And that's one of the one shots loaded in, ready to go. Synth ARP 1. So first instance in this session of Wavetable. We used it a lot in the previous interactive demo as well. I just think it's super versatile, and it can quickly sound characterful and aggressive without doing too much. So let's hear it. So it's set to a subdivision of 12. Which is quite a cool rhythm. Nice. Straight up saw wave on oscillator 1. We're using more of the wavetable functionality on oscillator 2. Oscillator 2 is also an octave lower than oscillator 1, so we get a nice broad frequency range, and a sub 2 octaves lower. LFO1 here, we can see its speed, and then the matrix, we can see that LFO1 is being sent to the oscillator positions, the warp position, and oscillator 2's position. You see it moving around here. It's being pretty hard sidechained to that sidechain signal. We also have some chorus here. You can hear it moving around. But mostly AutoPan is really what's giving it its movement. And a bit of EQ just to clean up the low end. Nice. This is a loop that you'll be able to make, well, this sound will be within Serum. You'll get the preset, you'll get the MIDI. And then this is just crazy. Crazy, but pretty simple chain-wise. So the reason that we have the notes here rather than just using an arpeggiator, it's just that you can get in and really see each note and see the speed. You know, they're played so fast, you might want to just move individual notes around or move around the start placement of these little ascending arpeggios. But the sound is tiny, it's analog, one of Ableton's own sound synths, 2 oscillators and some noise. Oscillator 1 is an octave up, oscillator 2 is an octave down, slightly detuned from each other. Some low pass frequency on oscillator 1. Here, just taking some of the top off. But rather than it dulling the sound too much, you know, we're using Ableton's hybrid reverb to really bring some of the life back in to the synth sound. So if I turn it just to dry, I mean, it just adds so much character. We've put that after the sidechain. So one technique would be to put the sidechain after the reverb, and we'd get that really strong pumping sound. But in this instance, we just wanted to keep the synth signal under control, but then add the character of that reverb afterwards. There's a little bit of glide, bit of vibrato, some unison detune, all things that you can get in and move around and play with, customize that sound. It's being sent again to the same return channels. We've got this foghorn bass, another Serum preset. Oof. So good. So yes, you'll be able to redo that. And then finally, the synth pads. Now, as I said in the previous video, this preset is part of Ableton 11. You may have to download it after the fact, or at least it's part of Ableton 11 suite. You can just go onto Ableton's website and or even within the browser of Ableton itself, you can download this library, or this kit of choir voices. And once you've downloaded it, you'll have this preset ready to go with some subtle vibrato here. Again, this is part of the bundle of Ableton 11's bundle of different effects they've put into one. So this, I think, is the chorus ensemble preset, set to vibrato subtle. Again, same sidechain compression, just keeping everything under control. and some pretty aggressive EQ down here around 100 to 200 hertz. Just keeping everything under control. I think this, more than anything else, really captures the idea of distorted visions. It's so distorted. Those synths are insane. So, same again, pretty simple kick pattern here. I mean, the kick pattern itself is pretty intense, but a simple chain, I should say. Just the dry kick, pitch down a fifth, loaded into simpler, so you can move the pitch around yourself. The same effect here with a side chain, providing the same pattern, but we're going to use that to sidechain our synths and bass. Some snare sounds here. So we've EQ'd out all the low end. It's in mono, and it's running through another reverb preset. That's layered up with this dry 808. Then this drum synth. So much control over that. A 909 kit. That's just using this hi-hat. So the movement with just this hi-hat here is being provided using, if you go into controls within the sample, you have this random pan. If you turn it all the way up, it randomizes the pan, hard left and right. No EQ on that, but it's being fed through this pretty aggressive chorus ensemble preset. Gives it a really metallic, cold sound, which, suits this genre perfectly. So, this machine gun bass, so this is just a sample we've loaded in that we've recorded from some hardware. That's being hard sidechained to the sidechain signal. So at the end here, we'll go through this in a sec, but a lot of these you can see they're automated so that they pan from left to right at the end of the phrase, which is just a cool effect, I think. Pretty cool. And then we have this pad screaming sound at the end. Wow. Heavy. That's using a synthetic choir synth sound that Ableton provides. We've ran it through this screamer sort of metal cab with a heavy setting, a good amount of gain, taken all the high end off, even though there's tons of high end still. We've had to roll the middle and the bass down as well. This is a Redux with a kaput setting. That's a bit crusher. So let's play it again. Let's turn it down a little bit and play it. It's pretty intense. So that's set to 5. So that's the effect that's having. Sidechained, bit of the top's taken off, and also it low passes at the end there. Something really cool about using this particular amp is you can hear the sound break apart as the signal, the input signal, slowly drops out. the way it just sort of crumbles away at the end there. Love that. There's a lot of drum bus, a lot of saturation on this and the previous video. But this is the real great example of using classic metal heads and amps to get that. It's just a different technique. It's a different effect. And I think it's great. I think it works really well here. We've also got the filter cutoff for the choir, tone, space settings. The way they'll feed into the amp will affect it as well. So go nuts with those. Also being sent to the delay there, just at the end. Second to last beat. Great. I'll stop that there before it starts playing the final beat. Super heavy. So we've got just a dry kick, pitch down quite a lot. Let's hear that pitch around a little actually. So this is where it was originally. And we've pitched it all the way down. Totally different character. We've beefed it up a little with the saturator. Awesome. Snare sample here. Filtered all the high end off. Drum bus to give it more grit and distortion. And then the same sound backwards. So it has a nice feed into it. That's 15 dB quieter. So you get this kind of nice soft rise up into each hit. And they're both being sent to the same reverb to glue them together. Here. Pretty cool. Some percussion, a percussion loop from the pack. Pretty cool. Definitely complements that beat really well. I should say on the group here as well, each group has got just a little bit of EQ on to help tame anything that we don't like. Feel free to play around with that. So this whole section has got some pretty intense saturation on it and a little bit of EQ. So these synths are pretty cool. Let's listen to them as a group real quick. So the whole group is being automated. Yeah, just a little bit of a low pass. Some distortion from a pedal preset and some more overdrive. It just these synths took to it really well, and they are both again wavetable. These chains, they're going to be in the pack, so you can just load them straight in with your own MIDI. A saw wave, an octave down, and a sine wave, an octave up. Nice short envelope, no modulation happening. Going through this amp again, the boost setting, lots of gain. Pulled all the treble out because it was getting too bright, and then pulled some of the bass out afterwards with an EQ. And they're hard panned left and right, and they sort of play off each other. You can see how the MIDI is left, right, left, right, left, right, which is just a great way of having control over both sides. So if I play those together, take this off. You could pull those in a little if you liked. But yeah, hard left and right, they sound really good. And this is another synth that you'll get a Serum preset of. That has a load of distortion of its own. Serum has a great distortion unit, a great effects unit in general, just built into the synth. And then finally, some sub, which again, a sub sample we've recorded from some hardware. It's warped, so every note will play back at the same speed, well, at the same length anyway, with a little bit of EQ on it. It sounds like this. Really distorted, really stretched and ripped apart, which on its own sounds a bit rubbish, but within the whole group provides real weight and colour to that whole mix. So yeah, really cool one. And then finally, beat 5. You could hear the analog collapse there still running in the background. Lots of overlapping distortions and delays and everything in this. This is the last one. Wowzers. Just again, showing off wavetables, versatility. It's so good. So that whole group just has a little notch EQ there, just to keep everything in check. A bass loop from the pack. Again, Serum. You'll have the MIDI, you'll have the preset. A dry kick drum, pitched down a 4th. A couple of loops from the pack. Some percussion loops. Madness. They're being automated at the end there to both the reverb and the delay. A little one of those hits being sent as well. And then again, finally, these, well, let's go through the synths in the group. 2 wavetable synths, just gently pan left and right. Phaser, flanger, chorus, ensemble, stacked up on just the left-hand one. And you see how everything is gently modulating. Triggered by the LFO. Yeah. Really nice. Nice bit of movement. Running into chorus and ensemble and the phaser and flanger as well. Well, I'll turn these off. We'll just see how that sounds without them. They're only set to quite low, 33%. I mean, that's quite high, but the phase is only set to 13%. So it's just a little bit, nothing too crazy. A bit of movement, bit of colour, more unison, position spread here. It just adds a little bit more colour. And then the right synth is filtered, drier, no sub. But one of the oscillators is pitched down a 5th, or 5 steps. And this one an octave. No unison. It's just a dry complementary synth to this more modulated one. A little bit of EQ, some more hybrid reverb, a sidechain compressor, which is compressing it from this kick drum, and some EQ. Notch down here, bit of brightness at the top, not much. A couple of dB. And then they're being sent to the same sends at the end here for a little bit of a reverb and delay tail. And that's it. Pretty great. Analog collapse on the return there, which is an echo, if I haven't said already. It's the echo plugin. It's just one of the presets that we really love. It's got a lot of character, a lot of modulation. It's filtered, so it doesn't build up too much in the low and high frequencies. Ableton's own reverb, just a nice, clean, classic reverb, a great return send. On the master as well, just a little bit of brightness overall, some glue compression to keep everything locked together, and some limiting. It's boosting the signal because the session's quite quiet, but then it's also making sure that nothing clips. And that's it. that's demo 2. So yeah, kind of weird compared to demo 1. Some different techniques on show there, but hopefully there'll be lots there for you to really sink your teeth into when you get into this session yourselves. So yeah, cheers guys.